my name is Ruby. Welcome to Backstreet's Back Whatever, a podcast.
Hi, I'm Taylor.
I'm Jacob.
And we have our special co-host guest. We have Ruby here today. Welcome.
Hello.
So, we weren't even going to call you Ruby. We weren't sure to call you well, first of all, I messed up and I called you Rosie. Sorry to screwed up. But we could have gone by your Instagram alias, which is a new alias.
It is.
Do you want to tell us what it is?
The new alias is Ladybone McLean.
Ooh.
And, I wanted to go with something where there were multiple meanings to this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were catching that.
I did, but I want you to tell us.
So there's like 3 different ways you could take this name, right? So the first one, the G-rated version, is like, so lady, that's just like saying like, okay, I'm AJ's lady kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bone, which is his nickname, McLean. That one's pretty self-explanatory.
It's for our 21-year-old listeners that want that one. Go on, yeah.
Right.
15-year-old ones, I'm sorry. 15 to 20 listeners, yeah.
Yes. Or to 18, right? 18
yeah, right? Yeah.
Triple X can
so
start happening.
18 to 30, I guess,
Okay.
what would be the second one? The
Right.
PG-13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So the second meaning is lady, noun, bone, verb, McLean, noun. So there's that one.
Fancy.
Right? Then the third one is just like a play on the whole lady boner thing.
Ah.
Since, like, I don't know if you've ever seen this picture of AJ wearing the shirt that says orgasm donor.
No.
So I'm just, like, receiving that, right? Like
Jacob likes that.
Oh, AJ.
Oh, AJ. Our quintessential pop boy band bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And this is your new alias.
This is
you
my
had
new
a
alias.
former one, and we could talk more about that in another episode.
Okay, the next episode we'll talk about that. Yeah.
But Jacob's trying to vet new co-hosts because he's sick of me, and so Ruby is my understudy, I guess, of co-host if things don't pan out after the holidays.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm fine with that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sure you are. You'll get a call in and tag, you're in the next episode. Taylor's out.
Here's what Ruby is. A computer.
Well played there, Jacob. Well played. I could have had one today, but the post office screwed me over, and so I didn't have one, okay? So if I need to keep my job or whatever this is, I'll do that. So fine. Didn't know the computer was like the only link of staying on here, but sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So anyway, Rosie's been so kind.
She just called me Rosie again.
God damn it! I'm fired, aren't I?
So
I'm just gonna see myself out of my own place.
you know what? I'm gonna help you out on this one because like she legit did not know my name until like a day or 2 ago.
That's true.
We've just been communicating via social media, and so finally we're like, okay, we're gonna come in, we're gonna record this. Hey, by the way, here's my name, my real name.
I'm just gonna call her Lady Boner throughout the whole thing.
That
That's
is
fine,
also
right?
acceptable. I will accept that. Yeah. Also, I think maybe
or
why
LB for short. I don't know.
it might be tripping you up because of the IE. Because so I spell my name Ruby with the IE, not a Y.
Okay.
So maybe like in your head you're thinking Rose. I don't know.
Thank you. Thanks for helping me out there. I appreciate that. But you brought me wine. You came to my house. You've complimented our podcast, and all I could do is just remember your name. That's the one thing.
Well,
And
three
what kind of-
strikes you're out though. The next one you're done.
I know.
So.
And what kind of wine was brought?
A rosé was brought.
A sparkly
So that's
rose.
probably why you're...
Oh.
Okay, there you go.
Rosé, that's right.
Yeah.
Well done, Jacob. Thanks for saving me on that one before you cut me from this podcast.
Right before I fire you.
Yeah. Thanks.
And speaking of you being fired, when can you start?
I mean, like,
Did you just fire me in my own house? Did you do that?
Right.
That is the coldest shit I've ever seen anybody do. And not just because it's a little chilly in my apartment, but whatever.
Well, it's appropriate because, like, Chicago winter, like, those are no jokes. So.
Yeah, neither's this firing in my house, so clearly.
It's a house fire.
So
But,
anyway.
okay, but like, what are the chances, no pun intended, hashtag, what are the chances that like y'all would be in the Chi and I just so happen to be, only I'm really not that far away from you.
That's true. We're neighbors.
Oh, really?
Practically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
If I take an Uber, then we're neighbors. Right?
Yeah, that's true. I guess then you and I are neighbors because I take a lift to your house all the time.
We
So
are neighbors.
we are neighbors.
You're in Pilsen, right?
Yeah. We're not neighbors.
I mean, like, so I was like listening to your podcast. I'm like, oh yeah, Backstreet podcast. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're talking about like these Chicago neighbors. I'm like, what?
You're like, not the Pilsen in
Right?
Chicago.
Pilsen,
Yeah.
Omni Park. You're talking my language right now.
Uh-huh.
So,
We got a group of locals going on here.
yeah.
So
We're
Ruby,
rolling deep in the Chi.
right? Yeah. So Ruby, did you pause?
No, I'm just making sure the screen doesn't.
When I talk, you seem like you paused. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no.
Because, like, if I hear this podcast back and it's only Rosie talking and you talking...
That's it, 3 strikes, you're out.
I don't know what is wrong with me because I said Ruby like 3,000 times in my head. And then as soon as out loud, Rosie came out.
You just said Rosie.
You know what?
That was to the point.
I know what the drinking game is. Drink every time she says Rosie.
She's gonna replace me. She already knows the drinking game, Jacob. I'm so fucked.
I legit brought this bottle of wine so we could play the drinking game. So, there you go.
There we go.
Well, this is water. I mean, I was drinking a lot last night.
Mm.
Anyway, I think I had like a full bottle of wine, and not like that type
Was
of
it-
bottle, but like one of those big bottles.
Oh, wow.
Like a
Were you making your own drinking game last night?
No.
Just a regular day.
I got home early from work. I was waiting for my cousin's
Oh, yeah.
GF to get in, and they were running a little late. So I was like, all right, well, I'll have a glass of wine, and ended up being
It was
almost a whole
really
bottle. Well, I drank it fast.
Got it.
Was it a regular size bottle or a bigger bottle?
It was the big one.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Because like a regular one, that's only like 2.5,
It's not that bad.
which is not bad. But like a Magnum or like
It was a big one.
yeah.
Big wine bottle.
So Ruby
There
is
you go.
very kind. I didn't really stop and think about that. I was so messed up. She has agreed to co-host 2 of our episodes that we're recording today. Dead 7 being one, and the AJ episode for the next one.
Woo!
So thank you for me botching your name and coming to my house, bringing wine, and co-hosting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
You've been very kind. She even listened. Okay, no, like I gotta give you your props because I feel like we've been
Before I get
watching you
fired.
for a little bit. First of all, thank you for having me. Second of all, like I just met her how many minutes ago or 2 hours ago or
Something
something
like that.
and she was so willing to accommodate, like, she's like, oh, I'm going to cook for you. Like, I'm going to feed you all this stuff. I'm like, listen, you really don't have to go out of your way for me. And
That kind of makes me sound creepy the way you
no,
said it, though.
No, it's dope. It's dope because like, I'm like, oh, I'm trying to like get back to eating healthy again. I'm trying to do vegan. And she was like really willing to accommodate all of that. So thank you. That's very thoughtful and sweet.
Anytime. So this afternoon, we all committed ourselves, and I say committed like, insane, to watch Dead 7.
What is Dead 7?
Well, here's the thing. I just want to make a disclaimer. If anybody decides to listen to this podcast thinking that we're going to talk positively of Dead 7, I just want you to turn this shit off right now and go somewhere else. Because you're not going to find that shit here.
Dang.
I have like a couple nice things
Taylor,
to
tell
say.
us how you really
Also-
feel.
Also, if you've never watched Dead 7, you may want to stop listening now. Just, so
Spoiler
no spoilers.
alert.
Yeah. I just don't want to ruin the movie for anybody that hasn't seen it.
That is so thoughtful. You're so considerate. Very considerate.
That's so considerate of you.
Yeah.
And you're back, listeners. You've watched Dead 7, and now you're here listening to this podcast because you've watched it. And I apologize, but Dead 7 is a zombie movie that Nick produced and co-wrote. And
did he direct it?
he did not direct it, but he his production company was a part of that.
Who did direct it? One of the zombies.
That's all they could afford. I didn't look up his name, but I will. I should have wrote that down. That's a very obvious question.
What were you researching all that time?
You know what I was researching? I was reading a lot of shitty reviews from Rolling Stone that had the 12 worst things about Dead 7.
Wow.
Which were also parallel with what I thought were the worst things about Dead 7.
Are you sure you didn't write that article?
I would have made for Rolling Stone, I need to check because that didn't show up. So there's that. So I looked up like some random fun facts of the movie, but for those who haven't watched Dead 7, hold on, I'm going to back up just a little bit. Dead 7 was so well not received that I did a contest to have people get a free copy of Dead 7 in which no one participated in. Can I just say that right now? I don't even know if anyone's going to listen to this particular episode for that reason, but I was like, you guys can get a free copy of Dead 7. No one participated in that.
Is it too late to do that contest?
I mean,
Can I do it?
Yeah, you could do it. You want a free copy?
What was the contest?
The contest was, all they had to do was recommend our podcast and tag someone from the cast, whether it's Nick or Lauren or Eric or any one of those people. And then whoever did it the most would be in a drawing to win a free copy. And I even was going to have 2 winners. I don't even have 1 winner, Jacob. I have 1 winner, all right?
That's too much. I'm not going to do that. Ruby, you can do that behind me. You can even do it twice. Taylor just said she'll have 2 winners. You can do it twice and get.
Well, the next time you do a
both
contest, you can just throw them as an added bonus,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll be like, I don't actually want to undo from this contest because I didn't know that was going to be the prize.
You make a signed copy by me.
Oh, I should have.
Yeah, there you go.
Your signature is worth more than Dead 7.
Yeah.
I just want you to think about that for a second.
That's cool.
I also had some people who were like, oh, I haven't seen it yet. And I was like, oh, you could win a copy. And then silence afterwards. Like, I was like, oh, I haven't seen it. Oh, no, but I'm good. I just wanted to tell you I haven't seen it yet. So, on the cruise, I told you folks this, on the cruise on day 4, Nick, added on the itinerary that we could do a screening of Dead 7 and there was going to be a Q&A that started. He should have did a Q&A in the middle. That was his mistake, but I digress. So everyone showed up for the Q&A, which was like 10 minutes, and then he leaves so then everyone can watch the screening of Dead 7 and then half the theater exited after that point.
Yes.
I really hope Nick doesn't listen to this episode. If Nick chooses an episode and he starts with this one, he's going to be really mad.
If you had to choose between Nick listening to this podcast and him not listening to it, but he'd have to listen to this episode, which would it be?
If I had to do a would you rather, I would rather have Brian listen to episode 1 of our podcast than have Nick listen to this episode.
No,
of this
that's not what's on the table.
Damn it!
That's not how this works.
Damn. Okay, what's the options again?
Okay.
Nick
listens to this, but he listens to this episode, or
Okay.
Nick does not listen to the podcast.
All right, listen, if I have to choose that, Nick can listen to this podcast because I think we're funny, so at least he can take that away. And if he does listen to this podcast, he will get more from this episode than I got from watching Dead 7.
Ooh.
So, there.
Okay.
So there.
Nicholas,
Nicholas Jean Carter.
Nicholas, if you're listening to this podcast right now, just turn the volume all the way down. But you can still play the episode, just have the volume all the way down.
And tune in next time.
And then technically, he's still listening. Even if, yeah, right?
That's true. That's the worst.
Right?
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
That would be so weird.
It would be like, he just turns it all the way down.
Yeah.
But I listened to it.
Yeah.
But I did. I've got a few pros, but I'll get to that in a bit. But so the premise of Dead 7, for those who haven't watched, for whatever reason, you've been busy doing laundry, whatever, you haven't watched Dead 7, because the premise is there's an apocalyptic war going on, and there's some humans left, and it's mostly zombies called Copperheads. And the Copperheads are going to take over the world, basically. And they're recruiting 7 people of the dead 7 to come and kill the zombies and save humanity. And the dead 7 consist of a lot of boy band members of like Joey from NSYNC, Eric from O-Town, Howie, AJ, Nick's wife Lauren, some other actress named Carrie Keegan, yes, and I think Chris from NSYNC was in there too, and John
also
Cicada.
Dan from O-Town.
No, it was Jacob from O-Town.
Oh,
no?
both of them.
Oh, damn.
Dan was the bartender, and then Jacob. I
Ah,
don't know what his role was.
got it. Yeah,
He
so
died
there was
quickly.
the group of folks there. So that was
And
the
John
premise.
Cicada, yeah.
Yeah, John Cicada.
Who I don't know who that is.
He's a 90s singer.
Yes, he is.
Apparently he was in All for One, I think.
No.
What
Was he?
Was
Somebody
he?
from All for One was in there because I was
I
reading
didn't
that
even
in
notice
the
that.
Wikipedia page for Dead 7. That was the shortest Wikipedia page I ever looked up, by the way. It was not.
John Cicada.
John Cicada
was on the Pocahontas soundtrack.
Oh my god, how did I not lead with that?
Yeah.
Ah.
He sang the duet.
He
in
sang
end
the
credits.
song If You Go.
Yeah,
That's a very
was his big
famous
one,
90s
yeah.
song.
In,
Not in the movie, just in the 90s.
oh,
Right.
Yeah,
Not to confuse you.
okay.
yeah. He was not in All for One. Someone from All for One was in there. I don't know who
I
it
didn't
was.
take that out.
Mm-mm. But anyway. So that was the premise of Dead 7.
Mm.
So I would like you. I've watched this 3 times now, so I would love to hear everybody else's thoughts, as I think I've kind of led with my thoughts already on what I thought the movie was. Jacob, what did you think of it?
Well, I slept through a good chunk of it. I mean, I was in and out. I was fully awake for the brothel scene. That's for sure. Yeah, it was alright. I mean, it wasn't. So this is how I understood the movie,
Okay.
which may be wrong
Okay.
because it was a little confusing because it was kind of bad. So
Yeah.
there's Apocalypta, who's like this queen of the damned, and she has this army of zombies,
Uh-huh.
and then they recruit whatever. 7
Uh-huh.
gunslingers
Folks.
or whatever.
Yeah,
folks,
yeah.
heroes
Yeah.
to save the town.
Mm-hmm.
So already this is just like the Magnificent Seven.
That's what it was, a play on words. I looked that up. That the it was originally going to be called the Dead West,
Yeah.
which I actually think would have made more sense because it had a very Western theme.
Yeah.
But then they changed it to Dead 7 in honor of the Magnificent 7.
Right. And she...
Now it makes sense.
Dead 7?
Yeah, because spoiler alert, they all fucking die in the end. Now that makes
I
sense.
really
Sorry
hope-
to interrupt. But I had a little light bulb.
Yeah, I hope
Right.
our listeners watch the movie before you said that because they're going to be
We gave
real
them plenty.
pissed.
We gave them plenty of chances. Okay.
Yeah.
We did.
So she wants to destroy the town, but she doesn't seem to really have like a motive for this vendetta
Mhm.
Yeah.
against the town. It's just kind of like,
There's a lot of loose ends.
it's gonna be bad. So, that's how it seems. She's like,
Right.
girls just want to be bad.
Well, that should have been the title.
The new zombie western from Nick Carter titled "Girls Just Want to Be Bad."
If you were looking for character development, you're barking up the wrong tree.
It's true. Ruby, what did you think of it?
Were you done? He was not done.
Were you not done?
Fired. I think some of like the makeup was good, but sometimes I feel like it was very half-assed
Yeah.
for some of the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever they cut somebody's fingers or whatever, all that stuff was actually decently well done.
Mm-hmm.
Or shot somebody in the head and their head exploded or whatever.
Yeah.
Or ran over someone's face. And
Right.
Yeah.
Just like the skull cracks in two and the brains are just left out in the,
Yeah.
Or if there were any like loose limbs. There's actually some pretty good special effects there.
I thought the gore stuff was decent.
Yeah, but I think some of the makeup, like some of the zombies just looked like people and they put like blood on themselves instead of actually like having been like rotting for a while. That was one thing I thought could have been better. They could have like made the zombie actors a little bit more like rotting looking, like the kid.
Yeah, sometimes it was actually hard to tell if someone was a zombie or not.
Yeah, because they have all their limbs. Like, no, I didn't see any zombies that were like missing like arms or like walking around or just like torn up. They looked pretty. They look pretty well kept.
Yeah, all the zombies were all extras and locals in Montana because they shot it in Montana, and they had like whoever wanted to be an extra. They were all just zombies, so that was just all like regular people for the most part pretending to be dead and zombie like.
Yeah. Favorite character had to be Joey.
Really? I have a different
Joey
one, but I'm not
surprised because he's wearing a pin right now. The viewer or the listeners can't see this right now.
Yes, for our listeners at home who aren't in Taylor's apartment right now with us, for our listeners at home, I'm wearing a Howie pin.
Well, we need to, I opened up a tiny box of treasures that I had as a teenager, and I made Jacob and Rosie go through all of my posters. Damn it! Anyway, as I was saying before, when I messed up Ruby's name. I can't even look at you anytime I say your name. It's just so sad. I made Ruby and Jacob look through a bin of posters and action figures, which you see on our Instagram story. And I had these little pins, and I gave Ruby AJ, and I have Nick on, obviously, and then Jacob is rocking Howie. I can't take that back. That's yours to keep, obviously. It's already there. But yeah, Howie was in...
He's traumatized. Isn't he? Let me see your pin. Where's your pin?
No, it just got
sideways, but
I like that one.
Yeah, Nick looks happy.
Listen, okay.
He looks traumatized.
I will take Rosie because she gave me this AJ pin and I'm in love with this pin. So, why is it keep falling? Anyways.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
No, this is happening.
It wasn't meant to be.
It is happening.
So that's why Howie's on Jacob's sweater right now for sure. But I will say, Howie was in the movie. Did you not know that? So Howie's not your favorite because you always have Howie as your favorite for everything.
Oh, here's one thing. In the intro,
yeah,
when it shows everybody who's in the movie, Howie's name is barely readable because of some effect filter that they put during the shots. But yeah.
But yeah, I could see why Joey was my third favorite.
Can I tell you what? Can you talk about Joey a little bit more?
Of course, yes, you can.
So Joey's character was named Whiskey Joe, and he was constantly drinking whiskey.
I did feel like that was your spirit animal there.
He's like in this bar brawl, and he's shooting people and drinking at the same time. And he kind of sounded like Beetlejuice.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we saying that he's like the great Michael Keaton of acting, and that's how good he was in this movie? Is that like the original Batman?
I think no. Maybe we'll just say he's the Beetlejuice in the boy band world.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you think of Howie's performance?
Howie's character was alright.
I felt like, I feel like Nick was a little racist and sexist as he wrote the script for this movie. Can I say it? Yeah, I'm going to say that.
I'm going to let you lead with this because I already had thoughts in my head.
Sure.
There's a few things I wasn't particularly fond of when I watched this movie. The first one was Howie's character. Howie's character was, what, Volcano? Like Volcano. Yeah.
Yeah.
And occasionally he would talk with a very heavy accent and would speak in Spanish. But then when he was talking in English, he had no accent, which I was like, that's not consistent, first and foremost. But then secondly, I was like, are you really making the only Hispanic member of this team, like, speak Spanish and be as, like, not a caricature. I mean, it kind of was like that, but...
Stereotype?
Thank you. I was like, are you really making the Hispanic guy the stereotypical, Spanish-speaking character that's not even consistently having a Spanish accent? Like, are we really going there? And then all the women had, like, super big fake boobs. Like, there were 3 women in this movie. One of them was his wife. Let's point out the obvious there. And then one girl had a tank top and, like, fake boobs and short shorts. The other one worked in a goddamn brothel and was a whore. Like, in the movie, she's a whore. Like, that's the thing. And then the third one was his wife, and, like, she was reasonably clothed. And I'm sitting here, like, which was fine, and it should be like that. But I was like, yes, if you sit there and you're like, hey, I would like my wife to be reasonably clothed because that's degrading, maybe you should have the same logic for all the other women in the movie, is all I was thinking. So those are, like, the 2 things I was like, oh, God, Nick, you are being a little bit racist and sexist here, and I just can't.
Maybe those artistic decisions were made because he was trying to get an Oscar. And maybe with those decisions it was easier for him to get an Oscar. I don't know.
Can I just say that I appreciate finally being in the same room with Jacob as he makes his sarcastic, witty comments.
That makes one of us, folks.
Theo likes it too.
But why does he look so sad? My cat, guys.
I think he's sad because of your comment. Just now. I wonder if at any time Nick was writing this and he thought, Oscar worthy. This is good stuff. And he never stops drinking. As he types away.
And then they go have sex in a brothel. That's what happened.
And it was a little bit homophobic in the brothel.
Oh, it was a little homophobic in the brothel. Yep,
with,
there was a
Whiskey Joe and
yeah. It's true. There was a scene where there was just spoiler alert in case you don't watch.
I think we can stop saying that.
If there's a scene where they go into a brothel and Whiskey Joe goes into many different rooms and want to find a room for him to have sex with this prostitute lady. Character development there at its best. And so he opens the door and there's a guy dressed in women's panties and a bra and another guy. I don't even know what kind of act they were supposed to be doing, by the way. Like, I don't even know. And then he's like, ooh, no, and then leaves the room. So that's
like, it's just supposed to be like a joke or like a funny moment.
But also, like, you're in a brothel and that's the line you don't want to cross. Like, you're like, oh, this is where I'm going to make a pass. Like, what? Like, I don't, Anyway, so not the Oscar-worthy movie that we might have thought it was.
Well, I'm going to piggyback on, 2 things before I forget. One, spirit animal. I recently found out that this is actually not a thing we're supposed to say because it's like a real thing in like Native American like culture where like,
did not know
it's a very like sacred thing that you have the spirit animal. So now I just use for all the Harry Potter nerds out there like a Patronus in place of that.
Okay.
If you don't like Harry Potter, then tough shit. Like you still can't say spirit animal, so can't help you out there. But as far as your point with like the caricatures and the stereotype and all that, I was like really curious because I know, like, they like to point to Howie a lot as being like, okay, you're like the Latino member in the band, even though AJ also has like Latino roots. But like, it always seems a little bit like, I don't know. I really don't know how Howie identifies.
Like, Howie's the
how
token
close he is.
Hispanic guy.
Yeah, or how close he is to the culture. Like, because all the times that I see him talk about it, it's always very, like, playing to that role of, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he's super close to it, which I'm not in any position to tell him how to identify or whatever, but that's kind of the theme I see all the time when it comes to that.
I could see why Nick, a white heterosexual male, doesn't know how to identify with women or stereotypes. So maybe that was hard for him.
But at the same time, okay, let me now play devil's advocate, right? Because yes, he wrote the script. Yeah, he was behind the movie. But at the same time, like his wife, Howie, all of them, they know him. They have some sense of agency, right, in the making of this film. Like they could always like throw their hands up and be like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this, or I want to go a different route with it. Yeah. Like, so it's interesting that they didn't do that either. So.
It's true. Yeah.
That's a good point. I feel like,
maybe that's why Lauren was fully clothed, and maybe originally Nick was like, okay, I have an idea. You're going to come in here and you're going to have booty shorts on and a bra. And then Lauren was like, fuck no. It's going to be a hard pass for me. You have no one else playing this role. Like, I won't do that. And I won't have sex with you. And then he could be like, oh shit. All right, fine. We'll change it. Like, that's probably, she obviously was fully clothed. So she was probably the one that was like,
and she made it out at the end when
she did. She's the only one. Sorry, again, spoiler alert. She's the only one who survives at the end. So she's a true winner of this movie. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and add on to the layers of fucked up in this representation in this film.
That's right.
So Lauren and I think maybe like a couple others like had this makeup that was very tribal, and of course it's never like not really identifiable what tribe we're talking about. Like we're talking about native tribes or African tribes or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know that's a thing. The other thing, and I think this is the one that bothered me the most out of all of it, was the only two black women in this film were evil as fuck, and
that's right,
and sexualized, of course, and dehumanized. And so I'm like, it's cool. Like I get like, especially Apocalypse.
I had to think of the second woman.
Yeah.
And I just
in the brothel.
The brothel owner.
She ran the brothel and she like had folks come in and get all towed the fuck up like by zombies. But like Apocalypse, like she definitely played her part. She did it well. But like, I have to question like why the only two black women in this film have that role. Like, and this isn't a thing that's only true for this movie. We see that across the board. So like if you have the power and the influence to create these roles and all of that shit, like why not do something that goes beyond what we always see? And unfortunately that was a disappointment for me.
No, it was. When I was watching the movie and I'm like seeing these like women and I'm seeing even like, I don't know, I was even more disappointed the fact that Howie had that role than someone else, because that is someone that Nick is close to and works with. And I was like, I just felt like that was a shot at his expense, and I didn't like that. Like, it just didn't sit well with me. And whether he was aware of it or not, I just was like, oh, how do you not see how wrong this role is in that way? Like, I don't know. So that probably bothered me the most, I think. I actually really liked AJ's character the most. Can I just say that?
Yeah.
I actually thought AJ had, even though AJ was like a bust down Joker from The Dark Knight, obviously, like clearly. But because he had like he was like laughing and did like the cackle just like the Joker. But I thought he really tapped into like this very interesting character, and I liked his acting. I found him actually enjoyable to watch, like during this movie, more so than all the other characters. Yeah. So I thought he was, and I will say, I don't like to say nice things about NSYNC, but I will in this one because they're working with the Backstreet Boys. But Joey was funny. He was like great comic relief.
Yeah, Joey's funny.
Yeah, he was a funny guy.
Chris
Kirkpatrick, the sheriff or mayor?
He was the mayor.
Doesn't matter. I know. Yeah, but yeah, the mayor. Yeah.
that was one of the pluses for me is I felt like the acting was very good. And I'm not super surprised by it because a lot of them do already have like an acting background, even though they're like in a boy band or whatever, like they're entertainers. And, you know, earlier on in their careers, some of them did have like acting stints. And like, of course, I'm an AJ stan, so like I think he did great. But I think the only one where I was like, this is not convincing for me was Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
But everyone else, I was like, yeah, like I buy that. I buy into that. So
Yeah. And I think too, like, even seeing Nick, and of course he was like the lead in there, but you know, whatever.
You sure? I think Whiskey Joe was there.
It wasn't Howie? Are we switching over here? Is that what's going on, Jacob?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I would like to watch this movie again and drink every time that Whiskey Joe drinks.
And as much as he drinks?
As much. To really feel like you're in the movie, you know? Just like, because I too also felt like zombies were gnawing at my body as I sat through 90 minutes of this.
He also had his own special flask that he drank from right before he killed himself. Right? Like he exploded.
There's a lot of suicide going on, yeah.
He had like a bomb
It's
or
true.
something, some type of contraption, but he had but in order for it to like work, he had to drink first. Right?
Is that how you want to go out, Jacob? Like, if I have to go out, I want a flask that I could just pull and drink and go out with the bang, right? Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
You know, Christmas is coming up. Not to put any ideas in your head,
but he really wants that Dead 7 DVD.
Was that Howie Pin not a sufficient Christmas gift? Because that came from the heart right there.
No, this is more like first or second night of Hanukkah. This isn't a big gift. This is a little tiny thing that I'll accept. But 8th night, it has to be big.
Okay.
I want the kamikaze flask. Please and thank you.
Well, I can't top that, so I'll do my best.
Okay.
All right. So apparently that when I did the, as the listeners know by now, I like to use Wikipedia, but I didn't print the pages this time, my friend, okay? So...
Did you call me your friend?
I did.
Aww.
Is that okay to say before you fire me?
Yeah.
Will we stay friends after you fire me? I don't know, but, you know.
Who knows?
It's
Who knows?
complicated.
Crazy
Who knows?
times.
Who knows? Who cares? Say love you.
Wait, we have to talk about this because this was hilarious. Before the movie started, we watched some really crappy trailers, and I specifically wrote this one down. There was zombie monkeys, and the movie is called, Zombies?
Zombies.
It's called
Zombies.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Zombies. So,
But while we were watching it, you said, "What's this movie even called?" And I took a stab and I said, "Probably like Zombie or something." And then right after that, it said Zombies on the screen.
So Zoomies, if you could sponsor this episode, that'd be great because we plugged you like 3 times already.
Yeah, this episode brought to you by the movie Zombies. Zombies does not sound scary.
No,
it
not at all.
doesn't.
Zombieverse sounds scarier.
Yeah.
I saw Zombieverse. It's good. John Mayer and Bill Burr have cameos in it.
John Mayer was in it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Only like in the beginning and the end.
Well, he's a busy guy, obviously. Yeah.
But it's good.
All right. Well, interesting. They also, Nick wrote the song in Dead 7 called In the End, which was probably the best thing about that movie.
Yeah, I
actually a good
I
song.
haven't heard it, and it sounds pretty good from what I heard. So.
Mhm.
Does the movie Dead 7 have an official soundtrack, or does it just like you hear the songs whenever you have to watch the movie?
That's the only way you get to listen to the songs.
Yeah.
I'm going to look this up right now. Dead 7 soundtrack.
Yeah.
There is. I think. Well, I Googled it and then it came up, so...
How many tracks are on there? Do they have scores?
Like 2? No, that was a guess. Dead 7 soundtrack has...
If there is a song on there called Whiskey Joe's Theme, I'm trying to make that my ringtone.
Can that be Hanukkah Night 3 gift for you, actually? I'll just get that for you.
No, you gotta raise that up to like 6 or 7.
Okay, there we go. Night 6 or 7, right before the big gift.
Yeah, before the flash.
I like that, yeah. I think it's good. There are 4 songs on here.
4-song soundtrack?
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Here's the thing I thought that the sexism and racism was bothering me, but actually I'm going to change it to the soundtrack. All of you fuckers are in a band, and you can't even write more than 7 goddamn songs. You have 4 on here.
You know what? That is actually
4?
a really good point.
4?
That is a really good point.
Like each one could write their own goddamn song.
I mean,
I'm
this
sorry,
could have been like super boy band, like entire album, but nah.
It's like you have the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC finally together doing some songs.
Missed opportunity.
It is a missed opportunity, and that's the worst thing about this movie was 4 songs. 4 songs.
And you worship them. You make me sick. What are the titles of the 4 songs?
Oh, I don't think I wasn't going to tell you because I was. Down by the River was written by Jacob in Old Town. All for Love, which was also written by Jacob in O-Town. Feed on You, obviously. Written by Nathan Owen. I don't know who that is, but...
Feed on You?
Feed on You.
Oh, feed.
Feed, like a zombie would feed
like
on
someone
you.
putting their feet on someone.
No. Like,
that was a brothel scene with the kinks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
GOHD. That's right. G.O.H.D. Do I know what that stands for? I don't know. Written by Eric of O-Town as well. And then the 5th song was the one that Nick wrote, which was what, In the End? In the End.
It was literally in the end.
It literally was that's right. In the end. Again, this is probably the biggest disappointment that you could not have made a good soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, like, fuck racism and sexism.
No,
like, you could have given us some music. Know what I mean? Like,
if I'm going to be offended as a...
music.
If I was going to be offended as a woman, at least at the end you could have sang me a good song. Jesus. I mean,
like, what are we really here for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This podcast episode, apparently, that's all I got.
Yeah. Racism and sexism are only tolerable if the soundtrack's good.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm just saying, every Quentin Tarantino movie I've seen had a kick-ass soundtrack.
Yeah.
And let's
there's a lot of shit
like,
that happens.
Let's not act like those are problematic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, kick-ass soundtrack at least.
Yeah.
If you can't even give me that from at least between 3 we have 98 Degrees, we have O-Town, we have NSYNC, we have 4 freaking boy bands.
Yeah.
I can't even get more. Can't even do that. Even John Cicada could have wrote a song.
Yeah, and the dude from All for One who we never saw.
I don't even know who that is. Could have been anybody. Could have been Howie. I didn't even know. Just saying. Oh, God, this is so disappointing on all levels. So that's the soundtrack. The other fun fact was Nick co-wrote this script. Not all by himself. He had help. He had help from a guy named Sawyer Perry.
Help from plagiarism.
Plagiarized. Like,
the Magnificent Seven.
I think the Magnificent Seven called and they don't want that script back. They actually don't want it. They're like, ooh, no.
What year did this come out?
2016.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I did the cruise in 2016 and it was I think it came out a month before the cruise.
And Nick's a big Walking Dead fan, right?
He is. He loves zombies and horror movies. Fun fact. This actually is a fun fact. When I very, very, very first met Nick, the very first time, he said that I looked like Scully from the X-Files, and that's one of his favorite TV shows. So I'm not saying he hit on me or anything, but I think he did. Because I was like, oh my God, Scully from the X-Files, shut your mouth. But keep going. But shut your mouth. It's great. Anyway.
I'll take it.
Yeah, right?
Take that shit.
I did. And then I was so nervous that my response was, I did that on purpose. Yes. It's true.
Like, how do you not say something embarrassing in front of them?
It's true. I have many embarrassing moments with them. Many. Brian's for sure was like the most embarrassing one.
Yeah.
That's why we're not friends. Not the other differences that we have personally or professionally, but whatever. But yeah, so he co-wrote this script with a guy named Sawyer Perry, right? So I was like, hey, what else did Sawyer Perry write?
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sawyer Perry. You want to guess too?
No. This is all you. This is all you.
Sawyer Perry sounds like a guy who would make those American Pie spin-off movies.
Mm.
Or maybe
the spin-offs, though.
Right. Like Naked Mile or whichever ones are on Netflix.
Sure. Yeah.
Or Without a Paddle, which is that one with Dax Shepard and...
I know. Like the guy, Seth Green, yeah.
I think he wrote Zombies and Sharknado.
Well,
that's actually a really bad guess.
Jacob, you're fired now. How does it feel?
Fine.
He's so emotionally invested in this.
I know.
It feels the same.
Sawyer Perry wrote nothing else but Dax Shepard.
Nice.
So I'm just
his like childhood friend or something.
I think it is. I don't know who this guy is, but I'm also sitting here thinking, like, this is my thought. How what's the word I'm looking for? How
Stupid.
Not stupid. That's so close though. How much of writer's block did Nick have during this script where he's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna need to bring in reinforcements. And I'm gonna bring in this guy who's wrote nothing else. Because I just don't know how to continue on with this challenging script and character development. And then he's like, what is it? Like, what scene was he like, you know who could help me? Someone who's wrote nothing else. Like, that's, I don't know, like, that's weird to me.
Unless, what's the guy's name?
Sawyer Perry.
Unless Sawyer Perry was writing the script and was like, you know who can help me? Nick Carter. Maybe that's how it was.
Actually sounds
true. I would
really
believe
plausible.
That. I would believe that more than anything. I just feel like someone was at like a poker table and then they're like, I'm going to give you my car. You know what? I'm going to give you writing credits to this script I have. Now deal your cards. Like, or something along those lines of like, someone lost a bet, someone won a bet. I don't know. But I'm like, your help with someone who has never written a script before? Like, I don't get that. I was like, really nothing else? And that was actually one of the things that Rolling Stone gave as like the 12 things they hated about this movie was they're like, your person who co-wrote this with you has no writing credits. Like, what were you thinking?
Maybe they were just thinking Oscar.
You know what? To be fair.
Because, like, Good Will Hunting.
I was just going to say that one. That was literally what I was going to say. Like, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon never wrote a script before Good Will Hunting.
Perry is, yeah. And, yeah, and then Joey Fatone is Robin Williams as Whiskey Joe. Robin Williams would play a good Whiskey Joe.
He would. He would have.
He would.
Oh, that would be really good. Right?
Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So I think those are some of my notes. If you did not already know, I think it's a production company called The Asylum who did Sharknado and some other like sci-fi zombie. Actually, I think so. Some other sci-fi movies was the one who helped produce this movie with Nick. So if you like Sharknado, you should watch Dead 7 for sure. You should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A few references I put down was the chapters in the movie reminded me of Kill Bill. Has anybody watched Kill Bill? Similar. I thought of Kill Bill for that. I thought of totally. Yeah. Although I don't feel like Tarantino would ever come across this movie and figure it out, but we'll never know. Maybe he listens to this podcast and then he will. We'll never know. Or we will. Who knows? Walking Dead, obviously, Inglourious Bastards, Magnificent Seven, like those, the Joker from like Batman Returns films, all that. I saw like some of those like pieces in there. I will say 3 nice things about this movie. I'm gonna dig deep and think of 3 nice things. The first thing was I thought AJ's acting was actually enjoyable. That's the first thing.
You already said that one, so that doesn't count.
No, but it's...
She's counting it as her first nice thing.
We're as a whole. I'm going to make everyone go around and say 3 nice things about this movie. So think while I'm talking. Anyway, second was the last person to stay alive was a woman. And I thought that was great. So kudos to that. And the third thing that I liked about this movie was that it was less than 2 hours. So
is that really a nice thing?
It was 90 minutes too long.
We'll allow it.
If you guys can top my 3 things, I'll think of one more thing. So challenge accepted, friends. Continue. Jacob, tell me 3 nice things about this movie.
I'll tell you the best thing. Whiskey Joe. By Joey Fatone.
Do you have 2 other nice things that you liked? Howie was in it.
I think that counts as like a 1 through 5.
He's already forgotten about Howie. He's like, Howie who?
Yeah. You were not sad when Howie died. Everybody dies, by the way.
He wasn't sad.
You know what? The fact that he died in a brothel made me okay with it. That's what I want for my house.
They gave him a really nice send-off scene. Not everyone got that.
Yeah.
Like, he got, like, Amazing Grace played for him. And
he did.
Like, AJ, because AJ was a villain. I'm like,
yeah,
y'all just decapitated my dude. And yeah, okay, cool.
Makeup was actually not horrible.
Yeah.
Makeup was decent.
Okay.
That's my third thing. So there.
You didn't have to think that hard for this movie. It didn't. Yeah.
It wasn't mentally taxing.
You could kick back and take a nap and wake up and feel like you left off where you started.
It wasn't intellectually straining.
No, that's true.
On the psyche. Maybe damaging. But. And then, yeah, all the body parts were really well done.
Okay. That is a plus. That's a plus.
Yeah, I think they were well done.
Yeah.
And the special effects. Like when somebody's head got run over.
Yeah. Ruby, what did you? 3 things that you liked about this movie.
I agree with a lot of that, actually. I thought the special effects were really good. I thought the treatment of, like, just stylistically what they did with it was pretty cool. And the acting was, again, like I mentioned, I thought it was really decent.
Okay, yeah.
And the song that I've only heard a part of,
yes.
but I was already like, oh, okay.
The one song on the 5-piece soundtrack.
In the end. I can remember that because it's in the end.
Apparently, IMDb gave this 3.2 stars out of 10. So...
for our listeners, that is a very low score. Spoiler alert. It is a very low score.
Okay, that's fine. I do just want to touch on some of the story gaps that I had with the movie. So here was something I thought was interesting. So you can't tell my air quotes, the currency in the movie was copperhead teeth. However, when you kill the copperheads, you chop their heads off and blow them off. So how exactly do you get their teeth? Why are their teeth worth something? I'm just not understanding that.
And this is your third or fourth time watching this?
It's my third time.
Yeah, and you still don't get it.
Third and last. But yeah. I may watch it later.
Yeah, no, that part was actually really confusing. I didn't understand why that was supposed to be.
The villain, I didn't get why she was the villain. Like, what did she, like, was she was she wronged? I don't know. Like, she seemed like she was in charge of the zombies, and she like held them all, like she was the leader of the zombies, but I don't know why she was a bad guy.
Like, why, like, first of all, why does she have this special power to communicate with them and control them? But she's not a zombie.
Too. AJ was like, they followed him, but they never killed him or attacked him. Yeah. Like, who knows why?
And like Jacob mentioned, there's no motive. She's just very one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
AJ at some point, I'm so sorry, his character name was Johnny, obviously. So sorry I didn't mention that. Johnny, played by AJ, could make people zombies by injecting them. Like, why that was a thing, I don't know. Don't know how that happened. I don't even know how he was immune to zombies either. That was the other thing. I was like, what made him different than other
it's also
people?
Not clear how you become a zombie, right? Because, like, if you're going to create a zombie movie or show or whatever, you need to start with zombie rules. Like, what are the rules?
Zombie rules.
Like, is it only by biting flesh, or is if, like, blood comes into contact with your other fluids? Or, like,
you need to know.
You need to know these things.
Yeah. If you're going to survive a zombie apocalypse, you have to know the rules. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Then the other thing was, there was a few more things, but the costumes. Okay, so like there's like this Western theme, like it's 1800s, but it's present time, and then it's like, I don't know, like what made you think that there's an apocalypse, and you know what would make me feel safer, like Western times, like that's what made me feel safer. Like I don't know, like what made them think that it's Western times, but it's current times. And we're going to have walkie-talkies, but there's no electricity anywhere. And, like, how do things get powered? Also, where do you get batteries because there's no electricity? Like, I don't know. And you don't need to know. You just need to know zombies are coming for you. And maybe you chop off their heads or pull their teeth. I don't know. That's where we're at. And, like, Lauren's character was really bizarre. I'm like, is she a witch? Is she a spirit guide? What does she do that's so different from everybody else? Like her grandparents had some like voodoo. I don't know. She voodoo goddess. What is she?
Yeah.
What does she bring to the table that was different than the other people who had like these ninja? Oh, that's the other thing. Someone's dressed as a ninja, but it's like Western times. I don't understand.
Yeah. I think Lauren's character, what I got from it was that I guess her grandparents had been around like the earliest, like the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, so they had
was that like the 80s? I don't even know.
Right? We have no sense of time here.
No, there's no sense of time.
But she somehow like inherits this information from her to like survive through this zombie apocalypse, so that's what she's passing on. That's at least what I gathered.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I do have one more nice thing to say. Nick looked hot in this movie.
That was the other thing I was going to say.
He looked really good and fit. So if all I cared about was superficial appearances, then well done, Nick.
I was also going to say that because, like, okay, here's the thing. For all the Backstreet fans out there, we know Nick to be, like, the one who's like mad extra all the time. He's like always like really dramatic in the music videos, and we all like kind of love him and make fun of him for it. But in this, he was like very subdued and like just had his like dark, like
the husky
stoic,
voice
like,
going on,
quiet.
Yeah. I think he was thinking of Kevin.
He was channeling
when he was doing that. He's like,
yeah, he definitely was.
I just like to. He had the Batman voice going on. He's like, this is. We have to move forward. Like, you have to go on, brother. Like, let's talk about the love triangle that happened in the movie. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, there is like, okay, so Jeff from 98 Degrees is with Carrie Keegan. Do I know their characters' names? No one has to care who their characters' names are anyway, so it doesn't matter. But she's like looking for Jack, played by Nick Carter, right? And, Jack and Jeff from 98 Degrees are brothers, and there's like some tiff happened between them. I'm assuming that Nick used to date this woman because she's obviously the sexual tension between them is there. Like where he's like Jeff was like, you know he wasn't going to show up because he's not reliable. And then Nick shows up, and then she's like, oh, you're here. I knew I would be here for you. And like some like weird tension, but no one knows like what happened between them. No one knows why the brothers don't talk. We assume he like ditched his brother because the zombies came. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's never told. And there's some weird love triangle. I'm like, were you with Nick and then you ditched him for his brother? Like, I don't know. That just sounds like some Paris Hilton, Aaron Carter shit that just transcended into real life. And I just don't even know. I don't even know. Yeah.
I think it's about an hour. This doesn't have any like time thing
Oh,
on it.
interesting.
So that's, I don't know.
Yes.
I think it's been about an
Cut
hour.
that shit off.
I think any final thoughts about Dead 7 before we wrap up this episode?
Will there be a Dead 8, like a sequel?
You know what?
They all come back.
They all come back. I mean, they could. You can do whatever you want in this script,
true.
you know? Like, I sadly haven't heard anything about a sequel to this movie. But if you do want to get a fix of Nick or AJ or Howie, they go to the Walker Stalker conventions, which is where I met Nick a few months ago. Not the first time, obviously.
A few months ago.
Like,
Now?
yeah. So there's these conventions called Walker Stalker, where like obviously there's a whole zombie genre,
Sure,
whatever. And so it was at, the Rosemont, Center, Convention Center, back in April. And so my friend Natalie and I went, and there was like two sides of the room. One was just Walker Stalker, and that's all like zombie, like Walking Dead, Dead 7, anybody who's done anything zombie-like. And then the other one was like Heroes and Villains, which was, Arrow, like all the CW shows, Riverdale, Arrow, anyone who had like a comic book, and you could go on that side and meet those people. And it was $25 for like an all-day pass if you just wanted to go and like browse around. And then if you wanted to meet anyone in particular, it was like $40. Well, I think they're all priced differently depending on who it was. But I paid $40 to meet Nick, and then I paid an extra $20 to get an autograph from him. So I went there, and he was there. And he was very lovely. He talked to my mom on the phone.
Oh.
Yeah, my mom didn't know that, cause I was like, what do I do? Like, I've paid this time. What do I tell Nick? And my friend was like, are you going to tell me you like Dead 7? I was like, no, cause I didn't. I didn't want to start off on a lie. So, and lied to him.
But after talking about it,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
you still don't like it? I think I kind of liked it.
Jacob,
I mean-
you do this thing where you like, you don't like it, then you like it, then after you're done watching it, you don't like it, and then like 2 hours later you like it.
Welcome to my world, because this is a conversation we have often. Welcome to the documentary episode.
It is a nice movie to sleep to. I'll give it that. Maybe that should
All that gore
first
really
one.
just relaxes you.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's what happened, right? So my mom, especially since she's contributed to all the posters and whatnot in the fandom when I was a child, I thought that she would love talking to Nick on the phone. So I tried to get but I didn't want to tell her. It's a surprise. So I tried to call my mom, and she didn't answer because she was sleeping like a jerk. And so I was like, she's going to ruin this surprise I had for her, and she doesn't even know it. So then finally I tried to call again. And then we're about to like go up to Nick in the line, and I call her, and she picks up, and she wants to chat. And I was like, I love you, but don't talk to me right now. I have a surprise for you. I just need you to stay silent, and then I'll tell you what the surprise is. And I'm like on the phone. I'm about to walk up to Nick, and now she finally picks up the phone, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Nick, that I have this phone in my hand. I wasn't being rude to you. This is what happened. I was like, I wasn't being rude to you. I just had my mom on hold so you could talk to my mom, and she doesn't know that you're on the phone, and like, this was the conversation we had. So then finally I put her on speaker, and I was like, hey, would you want to say hi to my mom? And fun fact, if you ever want to meet the Backstreet Boys and you want to make them talk to someone, you already have them on the phone so they don't say no. That always works every single time. I'm throwing that tip out there. Anyway, so, cause like, who's gonna be like, fuck your mom, I don't want to talk to her. Like, they won't say that, you know? So anyway, at least not so far, but we'll see. So then...
Maybe they said that after you left.
That's fine. He still talked to my mom. So then I was like, would you be okay with saying hi to my mom on the phone? She's on the phone right now. And he's like, yeah, sure. So I put my mom on the phone. I was like, Mom, someone wants to say hi to you. And then Nick's like, hi, Mom. And then she's like, hi, who is this? And then he's like, oh, it's Nick Carter, Mom. And then she's like, what's happening? I was like, Mom, I'm here with Nick from the Backstreet Boys and he wants to say hi to you. And then she's all like, what are you doing with Nick from the Backstreet Boys, honey? And why are you there? And why is like, where are you guys at right now? Like, she just feel like, it's like trying to process this. And then she's like, wait, am I being punked? And then Nick's like, no, Mom, you're not being punked. And then she's like, oh, okay, but where are you guys? Seriously, though. And then I'm like, okay, Mom, we've said too much to Nick, so now we're gonna go, bye. And then I made him sign something. So, like, that was the experience. And then later on, she's like, I had so many questions for Nick I wanted to ask, and I didn't know I was going to talk to him on the phone. I didn't ask him any of these questions. But, yeah, that's what happened. So next time I have to prepare her when she talks to Nick on the phone. Nice. And then she'll write down her questions.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was it. So because of Dead 7, he got to talk to my mom. So I will say that is a positive. So there. Mm-hmm.
It's like a butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Dead 7 never happened. Never talked to him. So thank God that it did happen.
Yes.
It's actually true, though.
That's true, though. It is.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. All right. So I think we're done with this episode. Anything else we want to contribute to this masterpiece of a movie?
Okay, so my final thought is, as a Backstreet Boys fan, I had not watched the film before. Had no plans to watch the film before. But now that I have seen it, I feel like a little bit more complete because you can't be a diehard and not, like, you know.
So would you say that before this movie, like the Backstreet Boys' first single off of Never Gone, you were incomplete?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, well.
I wouldn't go that far.
Just trying to go for a really good segue.
I know.
It's fine. Okay.
I didn't want to lie to you either.
That's fair. Jacob, any final thoughts about Dead 7?
No. I think I said all that I wanted to about Joey Fatone.
You know what? I too, I'm so sorry, listeners. It's episode 10, and in case you haven't figured out by now, none of the Backstreet Boys have followed us yet.
That's not to say that, we wouldn't be opposed to having you on if you are listening.
That's
Nick,
true.
Or Brian, or AJ, or Howie, or Kevin. If you guys are listening, you can reach out to us, and we could probably have you on the show, maybe.
Depends on who's asking. I do want to ask one follow-up question. Why do you think that Kevin and Brian didn't decide to jump on this bandwagon of Dead 7? Like, what do you think that they were doing during 2 months that was too good to do this movie?
I think... Well,
it was like Brian at a Trump rally or something, and he just like couldn't make it fit. I don't know. Like, I'm just guessing.
My thoughts are that blood makes Brian squeamish, and Kevin was just like, "I'm too old for this." No, like, I got bills to pay. Also, this movie kind of looked like it was shot in somebody's backyard.
Although they did have like a couple of really beautiful shots of Montana.
Maybe maybe Kevin was like, I'm not going to be in this movie, but you can use my backyard to do it.
Yeah.
Just maybe it was Kevin's backyard, and like no one ever thought of that.
You know, and there's a giant white statue. Do they ever explain the meaning of that?
I was like, are we in Brazil right now? Like, what's happening? Like, no, there's just a white statue, and that's all you need to know.
It wasn't Jesus, it was a...
No, but it made me think of the one in Brazil of, like, Jesus, where I was like... What?
Maybe it was Brazil's mom.
Oh,
that's where they shot it, at Brazil's mom. Brazil's mom's backyard.
Jesus?
Mary! It was Mary Magdalene, obviously. That's
Did you just call Jesus' mom Mary Magdalene?
I did.
Those are two different
people. When he said that, Brian's going to be so pissed when he listens to this episode because I fucked that up royally. So that's the thing that's going to get him mad. Not what we've said about Trump, but Mary Magdalene.
He may stop listening early on because we do talk about blood, and that makes him squeamish. probably. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Maybe. We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know, but we can assume. There's no crime in assuming. I think Kevin probably had no interest in this movie.
I think, you know what? I think that's why Kevin is my second favorite. I don't know. Like,
Was this the time, though, that Kevin was gone?
no, it wasn't.
Oh,
he was still
back.
very much
He was
involved.
back.
Yeah. Kevin was like, I think I have a dentist appointment that day.
Yeah.
So I'm real busy. Can't do it.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe some of the teeth in the movie were from his dentist. Maybe Kevin is in the movie.
oh yes, his teeth made an
Uncredited.
appearance. Yeah,
Uncredited.
uncredited roles. You know, there you go.
Kevin's teeth.
Kevin's teeth made it. Oh God. I just try to think of like Nick's like, oh dude, I got this movie and I really want you to be in it. And then Brian's like, ooh, that's it's gonna be a hard no, but you get it, right? You get why. What's it about? Zombies? No, I don't believe in the undead. Oh wait, no, I do because I believe in Jesus. But still, like I just, I'm so busy that day.
Maybe the Jesus mom statue was a stand-in for Brian.
Right. He's like, I can't beat it, but I'll give you the statue.
Yeah.
That's my contribution to the movie. You don't even have to explain what it is. I'll just give it to you as a prop. Yeah. That's a good point. Also, like, I wonder what made the other members of the other groups, like, want to be in the movie. Like, why did Joey make it, but not, like, JC from NSYNC? Obviously, Chris made it. I don't know why they couldn't get Justin Timberlake. It's so weird. He's always jumping in things. Maybe Jimmy Fallon was busy that day, so he just, like, if Jimmy won't do it, then I won't do it. You know, I don't know. Like, it could be anything. And also, like, do you ever notice how, like, Jeff from 98 Degrees made the cut, but not Nick Lachey? Nick Lachey didn't make the cut. Do you think he asked for too much money? That's probably what it was.
Probably.
Yeah. Like, Jeff will do it for $1,000, but Nick will want $50,000 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So many questions. So many unanswered questions of this movie. Besides the casting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've talked about this movie longer than the movie actually played itself. So I think we should probably end on that note.
That is a true statement.
That actually probably is really true.
Or that anybody talked about it. So with that, we will end the Dead 7 episode. For all of you listeners out there who listen to this podcast, I hope you laughed more than we did when we watched it.
And if you're still listening, thank you. If you have not turned it off yet.
That's how you know who the true fans are.
That's right, yeah. We actually had to recruit a fan so someone could listen to this episode.
It's a weeding out process, really.
Yeah. Just so at least one person was guaranteed to listen to it. Actually, no, because you're probably like, I don't need to listen to it. I'm on it. I know what you guys talk about. So.
That's what I do. I never listen to these episodes. After we edit them, why do I need to listen again?
I mean, you were there when it happened.
Exactly. It's true.
I don't need to reminisce.
All right. So next week, or in 5 minutes, whichever comes first, next week, we will be talking about the AJ episode. For all of our diehard fans.
Are we going to talk about the AJ episode, or are we going to do the AJ episode?
First of all, we're going to do the AJ episode in 5 minutes. But if you're listening, what we call IRL in real life, it would be in real life, they'd have to wait a week. And then next week, AJ will come up. And then they're going to listen to AJ episode.
So, spoiler alert, you have to wait a week.
But I don't.
Right.
That's true. That's true. That's how we keep our fans.
Yeah.
I got the exclusive sneak
right?
peek.
It's true. It's true. So we'll talk all about AJ, and why we love him so much. But we already talked about Kevin, so we can't talk about Kevin.
Nope, can't talk about Kevin.
Nope.
Sorry, Kevin.
Done. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Is that your sign off?
Yeah.
Is Joey in any other movies you know of that we could review?